students here know the drill. When Israeli settlers attack their school in Urif village north of the occupied West Bank, they leave classes to find safety. But it's not always guaranteed. People here say this happens regularly. Israeli settlers throwing stones at the school. They shot this video in November. Some students threw rocks back, but witnesses say settlers are often armed and have the Israeli army's protection. This includes live ammunition, says 10th grader Lu'ay Adil. He tells us an Israeli settler shot him from a short distance a few months ago. The damage to his arm could be permanent.
We were in class when the settlers started throwing rocks and firebombs. The students started defending themselves. As we were leaving the school, some of the settlers were armed with weapons and sharp tools. I was walking when a settler shot me with a live bullet that went into my arm.
Such attacks have forced some students to study in other villages or drop out of school.
I was shocked by the declining number of students attending the school. Some parents say instead of losing their children to these attacks, they protect them from harm and send them to the labor market instead, to make money.
Students here were evicted at least 14 times since the beginning of the school year. The illegal settlements are so close, it means that this school is exposed to regular attacks. Yet, this is not the only risk Palestinian students have to face.
Children's rights organizations say students are being traumatized by school demolitions, checkpoints, and harassment. This video shows 9-year-old Yazan Idris being detained during a lesson. The Israeli army told Al Jazeera that children throw stones at Israeli vehicles in Hebron, south of the West Bank. And it says it has no choice but to interrogate and arrest children it believes may be involved in violence. But UN organizations say attacks on schools by settlers are increasing, sometimes backed by Israeli forces.
The military law as a whole is a system of control rather than a system of justice, and this is what they want. They want to control the daily lives, all activities of Palestinian children, Palestinian adults, and education is a main tool to control them.
Here in Urif school, attacks could happen any minute, but students and teachers try to keep their school life as normal as they can. Nida Ibrahim, Al Jazeera, the occupied West Bank.
It's not easy to get an education under occupation, but in the West Bank this year has been especially challenging. Schools have been demolished, curriculums are changing, and there's the threat of harassment from Israeli settlers. Nujoud Allan is a student counselor at the Jabba Girls' School near Ramallah. She's taken it upon herself to make sure her students get to school safely and on time.
Sometimes when I'm on my way to school, I see the students at the side of the road, afraid. I can tell they've been there for a while, so I give them a ride.
Many of the students here have been stopped by Israeli soldiers or had encounters with angry settlers. They were frightened and reluctant to speak about it on camera.
A while ago, a settler approached a girl in the 11th grade with his car. He opened the window and began to yell obscenities at her. She went back home until the road was clear of any settlers before coming to school.
Allan says it's not just the students' walks to school that are affected, but their academic performance as well.
All the problems they face affect their grades. If you prepare yourself in the morning and you know the day will be tense, then you will get there late and remain stressed. And during the first class, your mind will be elsewhere.
The problem extends to students all over the West Bank. In some villages, the schools themselves are attacked by settlers, and they conduct practice drills to prepare. The Jabba school has not been attacked, but it does offer counseling for girls who've encountered problems on their commutes.
Parents send off their children to school, knowing they'll be somewhere safe. In Palestine, though, children face the Israeli occupation, dangerous roads, settlements, and other dangers on their way to their classes every day. Hamad Hamail, TRT World, Jabba in the occupied West Bank.
Noura Arbid doesn't know exactly what happened to her husband after Israel arrested him in September. But 2 days after his arrest, he was taken to hospital with kidney failure and 11 broken ribs. His lawyers say Israel's security agency, the Shin Bet, severely tortured him. The Shin Bet told Al Jazeera that Samer said he didn't feel well during interrogation, so they transferred him to hospital but didn't give more details. Noura was only allowed to see him once, plugged to machines. Now she has more questions than answers.
My daughter Googled his name. She thinks we're hiding information from her. She asked me, what does it mean that my dad is in a critical condition? I told her these are all rumors and that he is strong.
Samer's relatives and loved ones say they only have prayers to offer. The Israeli military court rejected requests for an early release. The Shin Bet says he's behind an attack that killed 17-year-old Israeli woman Rina Schnurb in August. The Israeli Supreme Court has outlawed torture in 1999, but it allowed the use of physical pressure in some cases during interrogation. The aim is to get information they say could prevent future attacks. But critics say that some of those measures amount to torture.
Under exceptional circumstances, what's known as the necessity defense or the ticking bomb scenario, if an interrogator uses certain methods, he cannot be charged. He's exempt from criminal prosecution.
Lu'ay Ashkar says he's been disabled since Israeli security agents tortured him in 2005. He says he was forced to sit in a position where his spine was bent backwards for 3 days.
Every time I felt unconscious, they would wake me up, check on me, then handcuff me again and bend my spine. The handcuffs were made of iron, and interrogators closed them so tight on my hand that I felt like they were pressing on my nerve. The marks are still there.
Lu'ay was released from jail after serving 26 months for helping wanted Palestinians. He filed a case listing his torture claims, but withdrew it after he was later arrested without charge. The Israeli Committee Against Torture says out of 1,200 cases brought against the Shin Bet for torture, not one has led to an indictment. Nida Ibrahim, Al Jazeera, the occupied West Bank.
اليوم كانت لنا زيارة للسجن سجن رمون فطلعنا من الساعة 3 واحنا قاعدين نستنى الباص 4:15 بيجي باص الصليب بنركب فيه بعدين نطلع بتشيك علينا الصليب بالعدد بالتصريح بيوزعوا لنا اياهم بنسقونا بدونا بعض التعليمات اللي بنمشي عليها بالنسبة للواجبات بالنسبة للمعاملات بالنسبة عشان احنا ما نتعرض للتفتيش الشخصي. فكانوا الأولاد كثير فرحانين ومبسوطين انهم بدهم يشوفوا ابوهم لاول مره، انا عندي ابني الصغير مهند ما شافش ابوه بتاتا ولا بيعرفوا اصلا.
بحب بابا كثير وبابا ومشتاق له، طلبت منه ساعه اللي هو ما رضوش، كان نفسي احضنه وما رضوش اللي هو يدخلونا عنده.
كان موعودين انه احنا الاطفال يدخلوا يشوفوا ابهاتهم. للاسف يعني انا ابني مهند دخل سمحوا له انه يدخل بس حس في نفس طفل صغير ثاني اخوه انه هو يدخل يشوف ابوه فبكى الطفل انه هو بده يدخل زي اخوه ما دخل فما رضيوش بتاتا مع انه احنا ترجيناهم. الصليب احنا ما قصرش معانا، كان واقف معانا بكل الاساليب يعني بكل الطرق، كان دائما يخفف عنا. انا للامانه كنت خايفه جدا وما كنتش حابه اصلا اروح ورفضت بتاتا الزياره، بس لما شفت ابو السعيد وشفت الصليب يعني واقف معانا وهيك حسيت شويه بالطمانينه والارتياح، يعني حكيت انه قد ما يكون ايش ما حيصير انه احنا في معانا حدا من الصليب انه احنا بامان.
ICRC is coordinating with Palestinian and Israeli authorities in order to allow Gazan detainees to receive visits from their families. During family visits, ICRC staff is always present at each checkpoint in order to facilitate the crossing.
Wow! Sorry.
And here's the last one.
Oh my goodness. Oh my god, it was a very good. It was a scooter.
We anchored up and sailed out from the shore of Spain. Our boat Zaytuna, Olive is her name. And Olive is the symbol of a faraway place to which we steer our course across the waves. We are 13 women here to sail with peace in our hand towards our sisters in this foreign land. To and from many different corners of this world we have come to bring to you the freedom of a song. We will sail for your freedom, our sisters in Palestine. We will never be silent until you are free. We are guided by the lights of the stars at night and the power of the sea so very bright. As the world is watching us, we bring our women's voice with a message that we all should have a choice. Your grandmothers, they planted olive trees upon the land where you should
very much for all the support. Free, free Gaza! Free, free Gaza! Free, free Gaza! Thank you so
May
much.
daughters plant new seeds. We will
Palestine!
Our sisters in Palestine, we will never be silent until you are free. We will sail for your freedom, our sisters
meredah samudra yang bergelora, mengirim salam benua. Kelembutan mereka bersih di tempat, kesopanan mereka api menyala, mematahi roda musuh durjana, melambai damai saudara tercinta.